wondered what kills plants in the ocean water? Well, our group is very concerned about what is killing plants, and we've decided to try to help and find out how to stop it. The most common pollution that is poured into the ocean is down the drain oil. Did you know that 363 million gallons of thrown away oil is poured into the ocean? Once this oil is poured into the ocean, it is killing ocean life, such as plants and even animals.
Question and hypothesis. Our question is, how does man-made pollution affect the growth of a plant in a saltwater tank? Hypothesis. If pollution is dumped into the ocean, it would cover the plant's food source and the chemicals would get into its roots. Then the chemicals and the food source would be blocked off. Then would the plant die because it's out of its natural habitat, or would it die because of the man-made pollution?
How we set up our experiment. We first took 2 large tanks, about 5 gallons, and filled them with fresh water. We put enough water in the tanks to cover the plants and that so they could grow. After that, we filled the bottom with rocks so they could hold down the plants. When that was done, we put the tanks full of water and rocks into a room right next to a window so that they could get sunlight and make their own food. Then in one of the tanks, we put salt. In the tank, we put exactly 2 cups of salt. Then we mixed it around so it could dissolve. I let it sit in the room for about 30 minutes so the water would be clear and mixed well. Right after I let it sit, I put both the plants in the tank. I measured it every day and checked the color and if it was dead or alive. I also made sure it wasn't shrinking or if it was. Every day I would leave it alone until the afternoon and then I would collect all the data.
The scientist we interviewed was Andrea Love, a marine biologist from Long Island. Mrs. Love loved the ocean and couldn't get enough of it. She went to college at the University of Rhode Island School of Oceanography to study biology and marine biology. She got a job at the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's research lab. Mrs. Love used her background in marine biology to volunteer at Marine Mammal Stranding Network. Mrs. Love not only studies marine life, but she also tries to inform others on what they can do to save it and keep it to the best it can be. All chemicals that are found on land make their way into the waterways, then to the ocean. Anything that goes down your drain, sink, toilet, or sewer can end up in the ocean. Little pieces of plastic floating in the ocean can be tied around the fish's necks or tail, and you possibly could swallow it and choke. Mrs. Love could not express enough how important it is not to pollute the waters. Mrs. Love's biggest accomplishment was finishing her thesis and having data show that methanol is not a good choice of an additive to gasoline. Mrs. Love is seen all over campus at SSJ. She also has kids that go to SSJ. She is most definitely happy with her career choice. Don't slack off and love what you do. You'll be perfectly fine.
As a group, we learned that we needed a team leader. Without a leader, no one would say anything if anyone was slacking or not doing their job. If nobody was saying anything, it would affect the whole group, not just the one person. Leadership takes a lot of courage because you might have to tell one of your friends to step it up. When you are telling one of your friends, you might hurt your friendship, but you have to think about the whole team. If you don't take that leadership, then it will affect your team when it's time to bring everything together. What we noticed in our team is we did have someone who did take that leadership role. Without that, we would have been behind on what we are doing. We had to stand up to each other kindly and tell each other to get working. Without that, we would barely even be midway through the project. We are lucky someone said something. Our time management wasn't great, but it was good. Considering how great the project came out, we did most of our work on our own at home. Then we sent it to each other to edit it. Then the 1/4 that we didn't do at on our own. We did at school. I would say the next time I do this, I would try and do everything as soon as possible, but yet make it still great and even better.
Conclusion. Our hypothesis was correct. We began our experiment thinking that putting pollution and salt into a freshwater plant's tank will eventually kill the plant. We figured that by doing this, the plant has the slightest chance of surviving the conditions the freshwater plant was given. Throughout this experiment, we have found that a plant depends upon its environment. That because we didn't give our plant a suitable environment to live in, the plant could not survive. We knew that the plant would not be able to healthily grow. Because of this, the pollution surrounded and suffocated the plant. As a result, salt is killing from the root up. This freshwater plant that we experimented on depends on having a freshwater environment. After a week of observing the way salt and pollution would affect our freshwater plant, we have observed a freshwater plant needs fresh water to survive. In the end, our plant slowly withered away by decreasing in height, size, and color. We observed that first the root would change color and it would affect the leaves last. Based on our experiment, we see that a plant needs to always be in its suitable environment. If we were to continue to go into more depth of our research, we would go into the topic of how an oil spill can affect our plants. This would be a more extensive topic to go into depth about, because it does not stay on the topic of how pollution affects the growth of plants. Oil spills have the same effect, but with harsher conditions. It is an overwhelming substance that will block off the plant's food source, and in the end, the plant could not survive these harsh conditions. This is the future research we would go into more depth about for our experiment.
As a team, we definitely had our ups and downs, just like any team would. But I definitely think we worked very well together. We each worked and contributed our own aspects to the group. Towards the end of the project, we all buckled down and got everything we needed done, and shared the work evenly. I know and always believed in our group, and always knew we would work very well as a team.
Thank you for letting us have this opportunity to study around